Hey guys, it's Kip here from KDC Marketing, and in today's video I want to show you how you can create a dynamic section within a dynamic page. And in this case we're showing an article here and then doing some related articles down here at the bottom, both using Wix CMS inside of Wix Studio to show dynamic data and content on these dynamic pages. So let me just start out by saying real quick what CMS is. So over here on the left-hand side of Wix Studio, if you click this icon, this opens the CMS, which is the content management system inside of Wix Studio, and that allows you to create dynamic content. And in this case, I've created some articles here. I have these science articles, which I used AI to create. And then I have the other CMS collection, and a collection is just another word for a data set of these featured articles, or we could call them related articles if we wanted to. And again, I just use AI to create these CMS collections. And so what's going on here on this page is if we look at this one here, this advances in renewable energy technologies, we have a article down here. But if we switch to another page, then we have different articles showing up down here. So I'm going to explain how all of this works, show you how to set something like this up on your own website in case you want to do some of this dynamic content. And it's really awesome to use Wix CMS. I love using it. I love learning more about it because the more I learn about it, the more I see ways that you can use it to make your website that much better. So if you go over here to the CMS, I'm going to start off with how I created these collections. So I'm actually going to create this whole thing from scratch so you guys can see how this works to build it from zero. So all I did to create the collection was I came down here into collections, create collection, and then I said create with AI. You can start from scratch, you can import from a CSV file, but I just want to create with AI here. And then I just named this, I'm going to name it something else besides scientific. I'm going to name it, let's do real estate articles, just for fun. So I'm going to name it real estate articles. I'm naming my collection, and then I'm going to tell the AI generator some details about my collection. So I want some articles about real estate and kind of like blog articles. Please include all the necessary fields. So I'm going to tell the AI. And then I'm going to hit next. And then it's going to ask if I want to generate sample content. So it's showing me the fields that it came up with here. And then if I want to generate sample content, then I can make sure this box is checked. And I definitely want that. I just want some dummy content to play around. So I'm going to click Create Collection. And then once this loads, it's going to load all those fields with some data in there. I'm hoping I have about 5 items. We'll see what it gives me here. And then we can work with so perfect. So it's going in and it's creating this collection here for me. So this is my data set. This is my collection. And inside of your collection, you have items. Each one of these is an item, and you can always add more items or remove items too. I'm not going to focus a ton on this portion. I'm just going to focus on the connecting these to dynamic pages and then the other data set. So we have our first CMS. I'm going to go ahead and create our other CMS now, which I'm going to call real estate related articles. So I'm going to create a new collection. I'm going to create with AI. I'm going to do next. I'm going to do this part a little faster now. So real estate related articles. And then please create real estate articles. Like blog posts with all the necessary information. Okay, and I'm going to click next, and then I'm going to click generate here at the sample content, and it's going to do the same thing that it did the first time. It gives me all the things that it has. Generate content, yes. I'm going to create collections. So now I have 2 separate collections, and this is important for how this is going to work at the end. So you want to create 2 different collections here to reference these different articles, and I'll explain that a bit more in depth in a minute. So I have my new collection here. So I have these 2 collections here, real estate articles and real estate related articles. So I'm going to go back to my site and show you how I did the rest of this portion. So the next thing you do is you go to pages and you add a new page and you want to add a dynamic page because you want dynamic content to show up there. And there's 4 different options, and I'm just going to do the item page because that's a page for each item in your collection. A list page is where you list all of the items on your collection in one page, but an item page is where you break out all of the different items. So I'm going to click real estate articles first. That's the main one. I'm going to click add to site, and it's going to create a dynamic page for me in the same template that we have here. There's kind of a default template. And of course, you can change this however you want. You can change these pages and connect these elements and everything. So that's something I should point out too, and we'll show this in a second, but each one of these elements, like this text element, for example, connects to something inside of my collection. So these are the same fields in my database. It's connected to something there. So what I want to do is I want to show the related articles down here from my other collection. So I'm going to add a new section. I'm going to add a repeater here. So I'm just going to go to Layout Tools, Repeaters, and this is going to be how I display my section. I'm just going to do a little bit of padding here to give this some space off of the sides and the top, and I'm going to stretch this to fill this section. So now I'm going to build my quick little section here for the related articles. It's not going to be pretty. It's not supposed to be pretty or well designed. I'm just trying to do this quickly so you can see how you can do this for your own site. So I've got this section here, and maybe I'll add this to this stack. So this is all one stack now. If I can get it to move for me, there we go. And then I'm going to justify this stack so that they're all the same size, and then align this to the center. So this is my basic outline. So I need to start connecting these elements to my other data set, my real estate data set. So I need to add a new data set here. So all I did was click on an element, this image, for example. You have to be on this connector tool. If you're on the design, it's not going to show the connector tool. You have to click over up here, and then you have to choose a data set. I'm going to add a new one. I'm going to add the related articles and click create. And as soon as I do that, it's going to pull in 5 items here. And I'm going to go to this, and I'm going to connect the image source to the cover image. So what happened here initially is it pulled in all the items from the collection, and that's what I want to avoid. I only want to show a few of these items to that are related to this topic that I pick inside of the collection. So I'm going to add these other things in real quick just to add the title. So I'm just connecting other elements here, the author name, and then I would eventually change this button to say something like, learn more or read now. And then you could change this click action here to the source URL or something like that if you have that in there. Okay, so now I've got this pretty much set up, except for I need to filter based on which article I'm on. So I'm going to go back to my CMS collection here, the original, the real estate articles, and I'm going to link these 2 collections. So I'm going to go to add field, and I'm going to go down to multi-reference because I want to link to multiple items in another collection. I'm going to say yes, then I'm going to select the real estate related articles and click save. And as soon as I do this, once I click into this, I have these options now to add these articles. So I can add 1, or I can add more than 1. So I'm going to add 3 to that one. I'm going to add 1 to this one. I'm going to add 1 to this one, just so we know that there's some different numbers here. I'm going to add 2 to this one here, these 2. Then I'm going to add all 5 to, actually, let's just go 4 to this one. Okay, so now I've added my related articles to these articles inside of my collection. And now I'm coming back here. And you'll notice that this still doesn't filter how it's supposed to filter. And I can preview to these different pages to check, okay, is this filtering at all? And right now it's not filtering at all. And so I'm going to go to my collection here and add a filter, and then it's going to work. I just want to give myself a little bit more space here for these repeater items so we can see them a little more clearly. There we go. So I'm going back into my other collection here, the related articles. I'm going to go to dataset settings. Now, one thing to remember is you have 2 datasets added to this page. You have the articles and you have the related articles. you want to make sure you do this on the related articles, not on this one. So you're going to go into this one here. You're going to go into the dataset settings of the related articles. You're going to add a filter, and you're going to find that multi-reference. Let's see if I can find it here. Okay, here it is. So the real estate articles multi-reference. So I'm going to click that. I'm going to say includes, and it's just going to default to the item. I'm going to add the filter, and it's going to then update and now filter those articles correctly. So this one has 4. Let's go check another one that we know should have a different number to make sure this is working. This one has 1. And let's go to another article. This one has 3. And let's go to another article. This one has 2. So now it's working, and it's filtering these articles to this item. So it's basically reading that setting we just did. So if I go into my real estate articles here, it's looking at these multi-references here, and it's filtering it based on that. And if I add or remove from this field, it'll update automatically, dynamically, which is the really cool part about Wix CMS. So that's how you set something like this up. This is a dynamic item page. So we have our real estate articles item, and inside of here we have our related articles CMS collection here, and then they can jump off and go to these. So I did try this with using the same collection, using this collection here, trying to kind of reference this twice. And it didn't work, mostly because I don't know that you can reference an item within an item, but it worked when I was able to set these as 2 different CMS collections. So since I have this one here and this one here, that's when I was able to get it to work and filter correctly so that you can have a dynamic item page, but this section also filters and is based on what you set in your CMS. So I hope you found this video helpful, and I hope you can start to see how powerful Wix CMS can be, because once you design this page here, all the other pages follow suit. And so if I change this repeater, for example, then to like a heading 5, then all of these are going to follow, including the ones on the other pages that I did. So if I go to these ones all now have heading 5. So if I tweak this repeater here, it's going to change it for all these other pages. Same with these templates up here. If I change something here, like if I made this one a heading 1, then it's going to go across the board, and now I need to change the color of that text to white. But it's going to go across the board, and maybe I stretch this out a little bit. So now when I go to any of these dynamic pages, they're going to have that design change, and they're all going to follow the same thing. So again, once you build this once, it just stays the same forever for all the other pages. You only have to design it once, you only have to build it once, and then you can manage it from your CMS collections here on the back end, and it will update in real time on the front end. You can do things like set statuses for these different collections. You can control item visibility, and so you can take these up. You can schedule them to come down, all kinds of things in here. So this is one that came up. I had a question about this and just wanted to address this specific use case on how you can do something like this. And you could use these for not just articles. They could be any kind of dynamic data sets or collections that you want. You could use it for testimonials. You could use it for reviews. You could use it for services. You can use it for articles. You can use it for listings. You can use it for so many things. But that's how you can kind of have this filter correctly on a dynamic page, is using the data set settings and setting it up the way that we just did. So hope you found this video helpful. If you are new to CMS, I have a lot of CMS tutorials on here where I cover things more in depth about how to do some of the other things I've talked about. But for this video, I don't think I've ever covered anything like this specifically. So I wanted to do a quick tutorial and show you how you can do this specific thing. So that's what I have for today's video, and I will see you in the next video.